Reggie Bush is suing the NCAA, USC. He wants name, image, and likeness reparations. I do understand it. I mean, these athletes and just people in general. Everybody's a victim. Everybody's entitled. Everybody's owed something. Everybody got a bad deal. Steve, your thoughts on Reggie Bush now suing the NCAA and saying that he wants old money that he didn't earn, he wants it now?
Well, I guess being a part of the Heisman house is not enough for him. Here's my question. During his banishment, when NCAA and USC acted like he didn't exist, even though I saw a lot of him at the Coliseum being one of the greatest playmakers I've ever seen, okay? Is there actual proof that Reggie has that USC or the NCAA used his name, image, and likeness to make money? If there is, I think he has a case. But if this is just about, I'm Reggie Bush and I got suspended or banished or expunged from history like an enemy of Stalin, then he doesn't have a case. But this is the problem with the NIL that I have. The NIL was really about iconic players, which Reggie Bush was, Chris Webber at Michigan, Tim Tebow at Florida, that I got proceeds from every bit of paraphernalia like jerseys or hats that I created or I did in conjunction with the university. So that's my name, image, and likeness being monetized, and I got to be a part of it. But if it's just about, hey, I'm Reggie Bush, and everyone's on the bandwagon, and there's no actual evidence that, hey, my silhouette, my logo, whatever I did was used, then I don't know what the case really is, to be honest with you, Jason.
It would really open Pandora's box if this went through. TJ, you'd have a right to sue and say
somebody would owe me $50. I know that. Yeah. That's about what I was worth. I think this is the stupidest loss. First of all, he wasn't willing to do any of the work up front. So somebody else had to get all of these things changed, and now he wants to jump in after the fact, now that the door's been open. So during all the time where he was unpopular and the NCAA wasn't backing away, he wasn't willing to engage in this fight. The other thing is, you mentioned reparations. Well, slavery wasn't exactly a choice. You didn't sign on the dotted line and say, I agree to this, and in return, you're going to give me this. And so you could make an argument for reparations. I wouldn't, certainly not 8 generations later. But you can make an argument for that. In this case, how is this any different than if you said, anybody came in and say, hey, look, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars for this work. In return, I need to be able to sell you. And so whatever I sell you for, I get the difference. Are you good with this? The answer is yes. Okay, then I get the difference. USC got the difference. You signed up for this. You signed up on the dotted line. And so I can't figure out that the NFL makes tons and tons and tons of money off of these guys playing football. And so, yes, there's a revenue share. All this stuff was put into play with everybody signed the dotted line. There's nobody that didn't agree to this. Reggie Bush agreed to this. If you didn't like, don't sign it. And if there were enough guys who didn't like it, they would have had to change the rules.
He would argue, his lawyers are, hey, look, they had a monopoly on, if you wanted to play college football, you had to play by their rules. The NFL, NBA, they got a collective bargaining agreement with a union that negotiates how we're going to share the revenue. Hey, I was voiceless in that process. I signed up for shamateurism, the sham of amateurism, and I had no choice but to do that. Everybody did, though. And it's
how'd you get a voice? He's got a voice now. The kid's got a voice now. Somebody did something to make the change. Particularly if you are not the guy willing to go in there and try to make your voice heard, I don't want to hear you complain about it after the fact.
And we would have to be telling amazing lies to ourselves that Reggie Bush and his family did not financially benefit while playing at USC. USC's got a long, it's almost like UCLA players under John Wooden saying, hey, I didn't get Lou Alcindor. I didn't get paid while I was at UCLA. Yes, you did. What was the guy's name? Sam Gilbert?
Sam Gilbert.
Am I right?
Sam Gilbert.
Yeah, that was paying. And they got a whole system at USC to pay USC football players. That's been going on since before O.J. Simpson. Everybody knows it. So, I'm more cry me a river. I know Reggie, liked him personally. he's a little bit woke, so he has to pretend like he doesn't like me now. But I do. A lot of the athletes, the great athletes, they're so entitled. And I don't say that as a personal shot at Reggie. It's across the board. These guys walk into a restaurant and they feel, I'm not paying for this. Someone in here will be paying for because I'm doing the nightclub a favor. I'm doing the restaurant by being here. I'm drawing attention. I mean, that's the mentality. I've seen it, dealt with it. It's like I'm wired so differently. That
Jason.
But Steve, go ahead. Yep.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, the reason why Reggie Bush fell afoul of the NCAA and USC was implicated is because I think his family took money up front and they lived in this nice home that obviously wasn't theirs. And then Reggie didn't pay back the money when he didn't go with that agency. And the agency said, well, okay, then we'll flag you. That's what so it's not as if this whole notion that somehow Reggie Bush never got anything beyond his room, board, and scholarship, I think is incredibly naive. Now, I will say this. In that era, he played from 2003 to 2005. Especially his last year, I saw a lot of number 5 USC jerseys. Now, perhaps there is an argument that, hey, I should get part of that, but I don't know how you quantify it. But it just goes to show you guys, we were much better off when these guys were just getting money under the table. We have just complicated this thing by making it legal. Let's go back to the old ways. That's what I think. Brown paper bag.
I'm trying to look this up. First of all, we would bankrupt every school. Okay, every school over all the years that everybody had money made off.
That wouldn't be the worst thing. You just talked me into a reason to join Reggie Bush. If we could bankrupt universities and start from scratch, that might not be bad.
The downside,
you know how universities, here's the downside. They don't actually get bankrupt. They get subsidized by our taxpayer money. And that's what happens at 130 different Division I schools.
Okay.
And so we are the bailout program. Reggie Bush, I'm not paying for your backup NIL money. Not doing it. Neither should the people of LA.
Well, this will not be the end of the reparations discussion. I'm sure Tariq Nasheed and other people will be all over this. Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.